Let's bring in the National Senate leader, Bridget McKenzie. Is this Susan Lee's fault, what's happened today?
Well, Susan Lee has made decisions on behalf of the Liberal Party. Our party room made a very decisive decision this morning, which we then informed our Federal Management Committee about, which was to leave the coalition. We didn't take this decision lightly. This is an historic decision, but our room and we as a leadership group felt that particularly those policy principles we 3 weeks ago were fighting an election on, were unable to be honoured by the leader of the Liberal Party. And so for us, that was the instigation for us to leave the coalition.
Kevin Hogan says that he hopes that there is a rapprochement, that the coalition will be back together sooner rather than later. Do you share that view?
Well, that's a matter for the Liberal Party. I mean, we've made it very clear that on the principles of the USO agreement, on nuclear power generation, on the Regional Australia Future Fund and on divestiture for supermarkets and big box retailers, they are non-negotiable policies for us as a party room. And so there's no point discussing any other matters that would be included in a coalition agreement if you can't get past the first gate. And unfortunately for the Liberal Party and the Liberal leader, she was unable to do that. She's
only had the job for a week. Is this premature, given she hasn't had a chance to meet with her own party? The first party room, I think, I'm advised, is in 50 minutes from now.
Well, that's
Isn't it premature?
But Kieran, that's a matter for the Liberal Party.
But you've gone out there and split before you gave her a chance to put it to her party members.
With respect, I'm not in charge of the coalition. The National Party is a separate political party with our own history, with our own philos and with our own mechanisms. Our party room is sovereign for us, and we came together late last week after negotiations had begun between our two leaders, seeking for an agreement to be reached. Now, it became very, very clear to us that the Liberal Party was unable to get there. And so that's fine, that's their decision. The leader of the Liberal Party can call meetings whenever she likes of her party room. For us, we've got to look after our interests and the interests of our members and the interests of those who live and work in rural and regional Australia.
Was one of the key sticking points that the Nationals wanted to be able to have the freedom to split from the Liberals, say National frontbenchers like yourself voting differently to Liberal frontbenchers?
Well, Kieran, if you can't get past an agreement on the 4 key policy principles that we put forward, that we've articulated, then there is no point in continuing discussions about anything else. So those 4 policy principles were put to the Liberal Party's inability to meet us and guarantee those policies for us was the reason that we split today.
Not the other issue that's been put to me by a senior well-placed Liberal, that you wanted the freedom on the front bench to be able to vote against the Libs where you see fit. Because that has happened before, hasn't it? I mean, the coalition has afforded the Nats that freedom, like on the single wheat desk. That's happened before, where you've been able to vote.
So I'd be interested to know who your source is, Kieran. I don't expect you to tell me, you're a very good journalist. When the discussions were between the leader of the Liberal Party and the leader of the National Party. So I know what was put to our party room this morning, and it was the Liberal Party's response to our request, our very reasonable request as a trusted coalition partner, that these 4 policies that were part of a coalition arrangement 3 weeks ago be honoured going forward, because we want to actually
She's had the job for a week, Susan Lee. Her mother died, and they're having a meeting this afternoon. Again, have you rushed it?
Not at all.
Are you trying to distance yourself from the Liberal brand?
So, Kieran, as David's made clear, and all the way through, we've been very cognisant of Susan's personal circumstances. We've made sure that there has been no urgency, that this is her timetable around when she wanted things decided. At the end of the day, there's no use continuing to talk about a potential arrangement when you can't get past the first gate, which was those 4 policy principles.
But how does she do it without talking to her counterparts?
Well, that's a decision for her, Kieran. It's not up to me to call the Liberal Party party room.
But so, are you happy that it's split? Are you happy? Because right now it looks like a mess. that you've split from the Liberal Party when you've been such a strong combination for decades?
Well,
Not
for
since
the 80 years,
Joe for PM.
for the 80 years that the Liberal Party's been around, other than a couple of short periods, we have been in coalition, and together we've provided strong, stable government for our country. And I believe that a strong, stable coalition is always the best way to govern this country. But our party room made a decision today based on policy principles. I'm very proud of it. They didn't come to that easily. They know the weight of the decision they made, but they had no other choice.
Did Senator Jacinta Nampijinpa-Price defecting to the Liberals sour the view towards your coalition partner?
Well, this isn't about soured views or otherwise. This is actually looking at a proposal. Can the Liberal Party guarantee us on nuclear power, universal service obligations when it comes to communications, being able to run a business in the regions, being able to access emergency services in the regions, like you can in capital cities, Regional Australia, Future Fund and divestiture powers being part of our competition policy framework when it comes to supermarkets and big box retailers. If the Liberal Party can't guarantee our party room that very reasonable request from a trusted coalition partner, then there doesn't seem much choice for us.
What happens if Susan Lee meets with the Liberals today at 2:00 and they say, OK, let's get on board with the Nationals' request?
Well, Kieran,
are you back on?
Let's see what happens. I mean, at the moment we know that we want to put a really future-focused, positive proposition for the regions forward. We're looking forward to that opportunity we know who we are. We know what we're about. We're very comfortable in our own skin, and that was shown at the last election that Australians also know who we are and are comfortable for us to represent them. So that's going to be our challenge.
It's not me, it's you. That's the message.
Well, they're your words, Kieran. But I can tell you I'm excited about a national party that's actually putting forward our plans for the future for rural and regional Australia.
What happens with the front bench, though? Say if Susan Lee has a front bench and you've got your own spokespeople, how do you come back together before an election?
Kieran, we just announced that we're not signing up to a coalition agreement, an hour ago? So I'm not going to deal in hypotheticals about what happens if Susan says this or how we're going to do all the front benches. We are wholly and solely focused on our communities, our policy proposition, and we're going to get on with the job of representing people. That's why we all got sent to Parliament.
So it sounds like you're happy if you don't have a rapprochement.
Well,
you're happy to crack on.
That is actually the decision of the Liberal Party. We have not left the Liberal Party. The Liberal Party left us.
That's not what it sounded like earlier today. It sounded like you and David Littleproud saying we're out.
Oh, well, we are. If they can't agree to these 4 policy propositions, which they can't, and that was made clear to us, our room and our leadership team has said, well, we will represent rural and regional Australia without you.
It's the Liberals doing, though, you're saying, because they...
Well, it's a decision for them.
Okay.
And we wish them all the best with sorting out it all.
Bridget McKenzie, thanks. We'll see you on Thursday for our regular chat.
You will.